The Liberals have to impose their ideology because we wouldn't accept it otherwise. And if they told you what they really wanted to do to us, they would never be voted for. None of the things that we are having to live with now were ever mandated by us. And let's talk about immigration. Let's look at the Windrush generation, when we were fed the lie, and it was a complete lie, that we needed to bring these people in because we couldn't fill the jobs. That was utter bullshit, and I'll explain why. At the same time as we're importing these people, we'd created the welfare state, and every unemployed person was documented. At no point has unemployment been less than employment demand. So we could have filled every single one of those hospital jobs. I didn't notice Florence Nightingale having a problem not having nurses running around. This was a politically motivated experiment. And let's not forget, I said earlier that the Liberals have to impose their ideology because we wouldn't accept it otherwise. And if they told you what they really wanted to do to us, they would never be voted for. So that once they get into power, they've got 5 years to muck around with this nonsense. And as Gregory said, we have a one-party state. The Conservative Party are a fictitious bunch of liars, with the exception of the great sainted Margaret Thatcher, who told the truth, even when it was unpopular. And we appreciated that at the time. But the fault lies with us, I'm afraid. We have been apathetic. We have not questioned who's been at the wheel on our behalf. And we've been prepared not to be interrogating those in whom we essentially trust. That is our fault. We inherited a much better world than we are passing on to our grandchildren. Shame on us.
I see a future for the ancestral peerage returning in strength to represent the native British people. It's not unknown, I think, in Australia and also in New Zealand, that the ancestral peoples are represented in their parliament as groups. I see a future for the ancestral peerage as representatives of the native people of Britain.
Well, thank you. Speaking as the smallest ethnic minority on the planet, I'm white, I'm heterosexual, I'm Roman Catholic, and I've got a hereditary peer, and there's about 22 of us. So I do believe we deserve, more protections. But in actual fact, the Liberals have tried to isolate us from tradition, from our history. Our British history is one of the proudest things we have, and it's an indicator to the future. And the hereditary principle, which is part of the mantra of the traditional British group, Britain group, which I love, is the hereditary principle. Everyone has a hereditary principle. We all have parents, and even if you're adopted, you start the hereditary principle so your children have something to be proud of. It's got to start somewhere. I mean, my ancestors were probably bloodthirsty heathen savages who were good at killing people, raping and stealing money. In fact, I know they were. We did very well in all 3 crusades. And that was it.
Rodri, thanks very much. Great to have you here. Yeah.